Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Tricked Before. This time we're back to DS9. It's Return to Grace. DS9, It's All Been Tricked Before. I wish I had a little grace. If you want to get some grace, become a Patreon member. Patreon.com/IABD. Not only do you get our video, not only do you get, and there's extra stuff on there. We get weird on there. It gets weird on there. But you get the bonus episodes, and you also get the whole mothership. It's All Been Done Radio Hour. If you're not already listening to it, maybe that's what brought you here. But if not, go check them out. Great stuff. Been doing it for a long time. And you get all the bonus stuff with those guys. Meantime, let's return to Grace. Deep Space Nine. It's all been tricked before.
Welcome out to another episode. It's all been tricked before. Your skeleton crew is here.
This is Steven.
This is Olivia James. And we are here to talk about the Deep Space Nine episode, Return to Grace. What are your first impressions?
I liked it. You've got essentially two ships playing war games. So of course, balance of terror elements. And then I thought I liked I always like Gul Dukat. I just think Mark Alamo and that character are just great. So I always enjoy them, even if he's just popping in. And then the way he and Kira are kind of doing the dance and going back and forth, but not even a back and forth. They're within the individual conversations, the back and forth's real good. But I thought the way it kind of twisted and turned is actually a better way to describe it. I thought because, oh hey, really hanging in there with my daughter. Oh, but also I'm still the guy who's gonna jack up this Klingon ship, and also, Kira to Dukat. Also, I still hate you, and you're the worst. And I know that, and so, and some interesting developments in the episode too. So, yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. Yeah,
I liked it a lot too, but I had to look up when was the episode we found Zio.
Yeah,
that was a Kira Dukat road trip episode. It was 9 episodes ago.
Okay.
We're not even half a season away from it.
Yeah.
That to me feels like way too soon to do another Dukat Kira road trip episode. And
I
so
think
my
that's
alternate episodes are like, Shakar should have gone with them. Or Worf. Worf would have been so interesting on this mission with them. He would have had opinions. And he would have sided with Dukat sometimes and Kira other times.
That was my other hope or wish for the episode. I was like, I kind of missed the rest of the gang. I mean, we got a little bit of them, but yeah. But
it's just too similar to that other episode, too close together, in my opinion.
We do get advancement here, obviously. But yeah, I understand. I get where you're coming from as well.
Yeah. So the beginning of the episode, we learn that Shakar is making Kira go to a conference. And to do that, she has to get a ton of inoculations, which Bashir is super amused by her discomfort when he's giving them to her. I feel like you can feel their real-life chemistry coming through in a way that's probably a little not quite good for almost too out of character.
That's
but
my thing.
I still enjoyed it. I still thought it was super charming.
Yeah. Am I just seeing that because I know, or is it there? I enjoyed it. So Kira's like, Bashir's like, you agreed to go because it was a personal request from the first minute of Bashir. Kira, oh, it was a personal request, all right. Shakar took me to my favorite restaurant, poured me glass after glass of spring wine, then took me to his home and gave me a massage with Kalash spice oil. I would have said yes to anything at that point. That made me feel a little uncomfortable. That made me feel real uncomfortable.
I mean, Kira's a sexual being, and we know this about her, and the show does not shy away from showing her romantic relationships.
Let me just say, the way she said it sounded like just the pouring me glass after glass of wine, and I just said yes to anything. I mean, obviously, people do that to me, and vice versa. We're just going out on a date or whatever. So, but yeah, just the way it hit, I was like, "Wait a minute, what?" And then she gasps and lies down on the bed. That's the description from our friends at Chakotay, the transcript. But yeah, so that was the thing that jumped out at me. And then Shakar kind of hangs over this episode. I have more thoughts on that part of it.
Yeah, he does. And that's why I think I wanted a little more of him because of that. I will say right off the bat here, as we introduce Dukat and the plot, that he's shamed and he's escorting Kira, and he's now been disavowed by his
Yeah.
parents or disowned by his parents. His wife left him with his other kids. All of that like was set up in the last episode we had of him
Uh-huh.
with the other road trip, and
Yeah.
I'm glad he followed through and doesn't seem to regret it. The thing that bothered me right off the bat is they still keep calling him Gol Dukat in this episode. And he's wearing the exact same uniform because apparently Cardassians only have one uniform, whether you're a Gaul or a lowly
Mhm.
freighter captain. Gaul is a rank, it's not a name.
Okay, that's what. Yeah.
And it is the equivalent of like captain, maybe like a low level admiral. I'm not sure exactly how
Okay.
that. No, it's equivalent to captain according to Googling. And I guess he is still the captain of this freighter. However, he mentioned he was a legate before he was demoted to captain, which is a higher
Okay.
rank. But nobody ever called him Legate Dukat. They were still calling him Gol Dukat. And as the series goes on, he's going to hold several other ranks or positions, and they are
Okay.
always just going to call him Gol Dukat. And honestly, it bothers me because we have, like, Garrick's the other Cardassian we know. He's
Mhm.
Elim Garrick. Elim is his first name. I don't know Gol Dukat's first name. I'm not sure it was ever mentioned in Star Trek. I'm trying to look right now. I'm on Wikipedia. It's not going to tell me. What about Memory Alpha? It does. Memory Alpha just says Ducat,
Is
SG.
is it like when people call a president or a governor or even I guess an admiral or a general that even when they're not doing it anymore? You think?
I think that makes sense as long as you don't already have a different rank. Like especially when you're
Right.
promoted to
Right.
legate, they should be talking
Yeah.
about Legate Ducat there, and
Yeah.
not still
Yeah.
referring to him as oh we know old Gold Ducat. It does say yeah Memory Alpha. It says in one episode which we haven't seen yet he's given the initials SG Ducat, but some have argued that it might the SG might either be Station Gull because he was the leader of Terek Nor on the station, or Supreme General. It may not actually be his name initials. It's unclear. So yeah, I just think we should have given Ducat a first name, and the Gull needs to go away.
That because I was going to say I think if they started calling him by his other ranks, we'd be like, what are they? Why are they calling him that? What's going on? Or they just have to do exposition every week or every time, like, oh yeah, I forgot you got demoted again, ha, or whatever.
We'd
But
roll with it just fine.
yeah, I
I,
think so.
I don't. I think that is. There's very few things about the 7 seasons of Deep Space Nine that I think they got wrong,
Mhm.
but one of them I think they got wrong is calling Ducat a Gull the entire 7 seasons. Just doesn't make sense.
Fair.
Zyle says Ducat is wonderful and brave. Look, I I talk to Zoe about this all the time that people aren't either good or bad. And while Ducat is a villain, and he is a villain, he's definitely a villain. Honestly, if you stop and think about it,
Sure.
he is charming and personable in a way that
Hmm.
makes you
Yeah.
hard, it makes it hard to hate him a lot.
Yeah.
And I
Like I
can
said,
absolutely see how this daughter he's only known for a few months, who's only seen him give up everything for her, would have
yeah.
this opinion of him. You can't fault her for thinking that.
I'm not one of those that is like, oh man, I think we've talked about this. I don't love Darth Vader. I don't love the Joker. I mean, obviously, whatever. Yeah. Heath Ledger, great as a Joker. Yeah, whatever you want to talk about, but that's a different conversation, different podcast. But I do enjoy Gul Dukat. I enjoy Vedic Win, isn't that?
I win.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
actually, we
kind of,
know
yeah,
her. We know her name. Her
yeah,
name is
yeah,
Win Adami because the Bajorans
yeah,
have the last name first.
yeah,
We know what
um,
Win's given name is. We don't have
yeah.
to call her Kai
So
Win. She was Vedic Win, and then we switched to Kai Win, and we were fine with it.
those are villains I do enjoy watching. I enjoy watching them. I still don't like them.
Fair.
I hate Louise Fletcher's character. I hate her character, but I love her performance. So, but
You hate her character, or you love to hate her? Because do you
yes,
appreciate? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You love to hate
yeah,
her. You're glad
yeah,
she's there, even
yeah.
if you never befriend her.
I feel that way about Ducat, but when his daughter is kind of like, I'm like, he was about to get rid of you.
Yeah.
So I feel like and I get it, whatever. At least somebody came and her dad did, he's been demoted and all that stuff.
For her, because of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
decision he
So
made for her.
I can see her coming around on it, but I also in the back of my head have the thing you said and the thing you said is like he's still a villain. He still sucks. And I guess Kira kind of says that to her as well, and she's like, "Eh, whatever, that's my dad, whatever, he's awesome or whatever." That's just the way I heard it. But which I wrote, can we trust either of the Ducats at this point?
Trust Zeal. I don't think she's seen
Yeah.
the parts that make it
Fair.
I don't think she's
I
seen
guess to
those
be fair,
signs.
she hasn't seen those parts of even in this episode. She sees hints of it, but as far as Kira, and I'm not saying Kira's a villain, but she was a terrorist or a
That's the
rebel.
thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, that was all I had. Yep.
That's the thing about it though. So Ducat is charming, and we
Mhm.
think it's very easy to fall into liking and trusting him as much as we
Yeah.
know we have to find him circumspect.
Mhm.
For Zeal, she has much less reason to suspect his motives and to
That's
question
true.
it. So
Yep.
even though she knows that Ducat was essentially a mid-level, if not high-level Nazi in the
Mhm.
occupation, Ducat, I'm sure, is the one that told her, well, Kira's role as a terrorist is kind of the same thing. And we both and I
I see
regret
that.
what I've done. And when you take that into account, you're like, okay, I see where she fell for it because she's naive and inexperienced. At
Yeah.
20, I would have fallen for it. At 40, not so much. You live and you learn. This is why I think the first time through Deep Space Nine, I actually rooted for Kira and Ducat to get together and for a redemption arc for
Yeah.
Ducat. And now as an adult, I'm like, no, what he did was so bad, you can't ask for redemption.
Yeah.
Kira hints that she did some really bad things, but she did them
Yeah.
for the good reasons. So I don't feel she needs to make up for it or owe us any redemption arc. Ducat, at this point, unless he gives up everything to come forward and grovel on his knees and does some like major betrayal to the Cardassians in service to the Bajorans, there's no redeeming for him. And I think you already know by now, almost halfway through the series, he's not going to do that. He is out for himself.
We know Kira knows she did bad things and she feels bad about them, but also would do them again because it's for people. And Ducat would do the same thing, but he's not the good guy, if you will, and we know that too. I do like him saying you're the terrorist. I do think I think that's an interesting part of the episode, and I do think that along those lines, and this is more of a covering the whole thing, but Kira's knowledge about everything and her instincts and everything in this episode, they benefit the episode obviously, but also it shows you like, okay, this is why she was so valuable and why everyone admires her and is like, oh, Kira, we know you. So I did like to getting to see her in action even more than usual, I think.
Oh yeah. So I did want to mention Zeal is still Sia Batum, but this will be her second and final appearance as Zeal. We've talked about she's going to be recast a couple of times.
Oh, is that okay? So I guess I didn't look into her last time, the actress Sia Batum, because I was like, oh, okay. I kind of recognized her and forgot she was in the Pussycat Dolls, and she's actually in my mind she should be a lot younger than me, but she isn't. We're almost this. She's like 3 years younger than me, 3 or 4 years younger. Which I guess when this episode came out, I guess that makes sense. She's playing a 20-year-old, but she's 24, but she can look 20. Actually, I looked 20 when I was in 1996. I could have also played a 20-year-old. So
I mean, she's a good 10 years older than me, but
yeah,
she will.
well, yeah.
I mean, we mentioned that she'll be in an episode of Voyager in the final season, and she will be in an episode of Star Trek Enterprise as an Orion slave girl. So I think you might be more interested when she shows back up for that.
I saw
That's
those when I was.
Her main picture in IMDb is the Orion.
I did see that. Yeah.
So the other face we saw right away on the bridge, and you probably didn't even notice him other than that he had a couple of really fun moment lines, was Damar, who was the Cardassian with lines. So this is Damar's very first episode, and it will be his only episode in season 4. However, he will be in 2 episodes in season 5, the premiere and the finale. So just there. He will be in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 episodes of season 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 episodes of season 7.
Okay.
Damar is going to be a huge character
I saw hints of that, or I read hints about that.
23 episodes, but like literally in half of the final two seasons. Um,
Yeah.
he So it was a very nondescript first episode. I'm sure I did not notice him the first time through
Mhm.
in at this
Yeah.
point. But I was this time, of course, I was very excited to see him because I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
he's a great character that also goes through stuff. I don't think there's anything in this appearance that contradicts his later plots, which is amazing
Mhm.
because you know how many of these characters were introduced
Yeah.
to, like Rom and whoever, that end up changing completely. I don't think there's anything in this appearance that like ruins Damar's later stuff for me. And I
Okay.
don't want to get into exactly
Yeah.
what role he's going to play or the complications involved,
Yep. I
just to
appreciate
say that he's going to have a lot of plot and a lot of plot down the road that won't involve Ducat. That won't have him with
Oh,
you.
okay.
He's not just Ducat's lieutenant that shows up next to him. He will have
Yeah.
his own plot separate from Ducat as a reoccurring character.
Okay.
So
Cool.
he's somebody to pay attention to. I did think immediately he was charming. He had like two quips that were so
Uh-huh.
well delivered that I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. My favorite was when they're talking about the Klingon tech and how odd it is. He's like, well, it's kind of fun or whatever. He and Kira have a moment on the bridge. And I was like, did they have plans for him? Because obviously he's not going to show back up till the season 5 premiere. Did they have
Hmm.
plans for him or did they just like having him on set so much that they were like, this guy kind of did something for us. Let's bring him back. I honestly don't know, but fun trivia fact. I mean, his name is Casey Biggs.
Hmm.
If you paying attention to the Voyager opening credits, Roxanne Biggs Dawson, they were married
Oh,
briefly in the 80s. They were divorced long before either one of them did Star Trek.
wow.
But he was married to Torres briefly in the 80s.
Yeah.
He's best known for the movie Broken Arrow, the John Travolta movie. This role, obviously. The Pelican
Hmm.
Brief and Dragonfly 2002 movie. He's got 76 credits. He's only had like 3 credits this decade, which is too
Hmm.
bad. He did grow up in Toledo, Ohio, went to Central
All right.
Catholic High
Good.
School, and did musicals and operettas, and then he did graduate from Juilliard. So
Hmm.
you know, he yeah, 76 credits seems low considering like his best known fours are pretty significant. Several of them, not just this, and just yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what he's in. There is one episode of Deep Space Nine where he plays a different character, but that's yeah, 22 and a half of his 23 appearances are Damar, because he plays Damar in the episode he plays the other
Hmm.
character. I don't remember the circumstances that he plays Damar and this other character in the same episode, but he does have another character listing for a season 7 episode as Dr. Wyckoff. So we'll have to see what that is. I don't remember that. But anyway, when we first introduced to him, they're doing training exercises. He seems very frustrated. The crew, Ducat's very frustrated. It's a whole thing. It definitely felt like a Klingon ship to me, the training exercises
Yeah.
and the
Yes,
emphasis on
it did.
combat.
Yep.
Kira accepts Ducat's dinner invite, and
Yeah.
the best part of that is his line, I'm very glad you convinced me not to kill her about Zeal. Look, I think this episode proves, because we were left with the first episode transgression, we were left not being sure about Ducat's motivations with his daughter, even though he did agree not to kill her and he took her home. I do
Hmm.
think it's really hard to convolute anything other than honorable father for his relationship to her in this episode. I just don't think this is where you get complexity and layers. I think he is a good father to her, and I don't see anything that leads me to believe there's ulterior motives behind it. The decisions he makes, like both giving up his whole reputation and everything, but then also giving her up, are good father moves.
He's a very confident guy.
Yeah.
He's very confident he can do it all.
Mm. Yes. Ducat flirting with Kira, that's it used to be subtle. He's past the
Yeah.
subtleness this episode.
Yeah.
He turned it all on. That's why I kind of wanted Shakar there, because he starts insulting Shakar. I think that would have been interesting. I do think it would be far more interesting to have a character like Worf instead of Shakar. I just wanted somebody else to break up the chemistry because we've already had the Ducat Kira stuff. And I love it, but I think
Yeah.
adding a third party in there, and Zeal doesn't really have any scenes with the two of them. She has scenes
No.
separately. So,
Right.
yeah.
I like Ducat says you do like powerful men, don't you? Which is something I didn't say she likes powerful men. I just said I think it was 2 weeks ago or whatever our last DS9 episode. I was like Kira, and not shaming. She, yeah. Well, I think you already said earlier she's a sexual being, which
Yeah.
good for her and good for us. So, but I feel like he's trying to get under her skin with that. And then he comes back with, and this might not be a direct quote, but essentially he's like, well, he slept with everybody except you at the time. And I'm like,
That
oh,
was rough. That was
man.
so rough. I don't believe it's true. I
That
believe
was going to be the
there's
next question. Yeah.
I believe there's a hint of truth. What I take from that, my assumption, is that he may have slept with one or two other resistance members and he extended that out. Because I feel like most of Ducat's lies, and this is why Ducat's such a talented and charming liar, is there's enough truth in them
Little bit of
to
truth.
get you buying into it. No, for sure. I don't think we ever confirm one way or another if Shakar was sleeping around with other
I
subordinates.
mean, I believe he's a ladies' man, but that doesn't necessarily mean he was sleeping with everybody but her.
No, I don't think so either. So I'm choosing to believe this is Ducat, like taking a hint of truth and blowing it up for reaction.
Hmm.
So the Klingons attack an outpost, and Kira gives advice. And man, if I loved the element that Ducat actually fires on them, which he absolutely should not do. Like, such a stupid, stupid move, but the pride and the confidence, as you already mentioned, is there.
Yeah.
And they ignore him and fly away. That is like the ultimate insult of you're not,
Uh,
because we've seen Klingons before just fire random shots at Boba Freighter just for fun. That they let him live, and maybe that's an effect of being at peace with the Federation for 70 years. They've toned it down,
sure.
but at the same time, it's like that is that communicates very clearly Ducat's status and what's going on with him now. I think.
Yeah, and it sets up the whole rest of the episode, and
Yep.
and that ignore him at your own peril,
Yeah.
and they do meet peril.
So I get Kira's waffling in this episode, and she goes back and forth throughout the episode on like seems to want to advise and participate, and then she
Uh-huh.
also doesn't want to get involved because that this isn't her place, and she doesn't like Cardassians in general or Ducat specifically. So it doesn't really make sense for her to get involved, but you could easily see how she fall into that trap of I'm in the moment, things are
Uh-huh.
happening,
This is what I
it feels
do.
familiar, it flows the juices.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even think she's thinking. She's just reacting because she's used to doing that. Yeah.
Well, she gives him advice and then almost immediately regrets the advice she gives him. And I don't think
Mm-hmm.
any of that's wrong or out of character.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Mm-hmm.
complexity. Zoe and I had a long discussion in this episode about complexity of characters. And like I said, Ducat, as evil as he is, has good sides. So you don't see that in most televisions, certainly not in most Star Trek. That we get these
Mm-hmm.
villains who also have redeeming qualities. I
Yeah.
enjoy that so much. And I'm glad Deep Space Nine gives Ducat the breathing space to explore those things, right? Like when you have, I can't remember how many episodes he's in now. I want to say like 70 some episodes. I'm looking it up. When you're in 30, oh, only 35. So I guess I was wrong by half.
Oh
Damar's
wow.
in 23. He's in almost as many as Ducat. I guess he's in 2/3 of the ones Ducat's in. Ducat was in season two pretty heavily. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he will be in season 6 as much as Damar, but Ducat is actually in season 7 less than Damar is in.
Interesting.
And Ducat has a presence throughout season 7. I always feel like he's in more than he is, because when he's there, he looms so large. But
Mm-hmm.
oh well, that's just what other. Now I'm. What other characters are in? So of the reoccurring characters, I was looking to see who's in more than Ducat because in my mind, he's like the most prominent reoccurring character. And
Mm-hmm.
according to IMDb's episode totals, after we get past our main characters, and that includes Worf, because Worf is in more than any reoccurring character, there is an extra David Levinson who plays like the waiter at Cisco's and a bunch of random characters who's in
Uh,
like who's in 88 episodes but doesn't like whatever. There are actually three actors like that have between 50 and 80 episodes where they're just background, kind of like
Hmm.
you're in the original series.
Yeah.
But the most common reoccurring character is Nog. Second,
Yeah.
tied for second, is Garrick and Rom, and then Ducat is the third place. So, well,
All right.
Ducat is tied. Oh, Ducat's tied with another extra, and there's actually another extra between Garrick and Rom and Ducat. So they've got like 5 extras that are in a ton of freaking episodes. But yeah, we got our main cast. We got Nog, then we got Garrick and Rom, then we got Ducat. So
Okay.
that makes pretty close sense. And then right behind that is Jeffrey Combs, who we haven't even seen yet.
Yeah.
He is right behind Ducat, another extra, and then Martok, who we have met, and then Damar, who we have met. So those are
Hmm.
like the major. They both beat out Keiko by a lot, and Lita is pretty equivalent with Keiko. Cassidy Yates is pretty equivalent with Lita and Keiko. So and Win is pretty equivalent with Lita and Keiko and Cassidy. So you know, we got those. Molly's also in a bunch of episodes, but we've barely seen her too.
Mm.
Brian's daughter, in case you've forgotten, because it's been so long.
Sure.
I don't think we've heard Molly mentioned since like season 2.
Yeah. It's been a
Anyway,
while.
Kira gives Zayel weapons training, which is sad but necessary, and
Yeah.
that's where Zeal tries to sway Kira over. Zeal is really pushing hard for Kira to be her stepmommy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way to put it, actually. Yeah.
I don't think. No, I think that's exactly accurate because Ducat wants to
Yeah.
be with Kira romantically, and I
Uh-huh.
don't think Ducat's would have asked ZL outright to try to hook us up, but I think it's
Hmm.
very clear he dropped all the hints to lead ZL to make that leap and do it herself.
Hmm.
That's how I imagine that conversation going.
I
Is
could see.
Ducat
Yeah.
not asking, but
Yeah.
you know, I really like her, and I think we have a lot of common, and I really regret, but she hates me, and that's okay. I understand, and just letting ZL take it from there. So that's how I imagine it went.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Kira says she can never forgive. Absolutely. What Jew that survived the Holocaust is going to forgive a
Yeah.
Nazi?
Right.
Like, yeah, I think that's the break you need if you're starting to feel sympathetic to Ducat right there.
Mm.
But then right after that, Ducat tells Kira classified information about Cardassian fleets and ship and troop movements.
Yeah.
I know they're like he's trying to bond with her so they can form this con together. And at this point, he's
Hmm.
not loyal to the government because he thinks the government's stupid and he wants to one up them or whatever.
Yeah. He
But
says he's the only Cardassian left. He's
I
the
mean,
last
definitely
one.
not. But
Right.
you get why he's frustrated with the government. But
Sure.
I still think giving up the military secrets is a huge leap, and I think it's also a sign of desperation. This is my one ticket back, and I don't see another way to do it.
And he goes the whole like, well, you're being wasted on Deep Space Nine. I was like, is she? I mean, when he's like, oh, you're coordinating docking assignments and leading training exercises. Like, well, I
It is
get
the
what he's
main
saying,
part
but
of her
also,
job.
yeah, she's doing other stuff too, obviously.
She is. She is, but I think Ducat has a certain point. I think
Hmm.
for right now, Kira's where she needs to be. I think she's
Yeah.
doing a very valuable service that goes beyond her actual job. However, 7 seasons, which is how long the series runs, and she will stay in that position for all 7 seasons.
Yeah.
That seems too long. I feel
Well,
like the
and
comparison begs Riker, where Riker's an ambitious first officer who wants to be a captain, and he's already offered by halfway through Next Gen the captainship and turns it down because he realizes he has more to learn from Picard.
mhm.
Kira appreciates and values Cisco, and I think learns from him. But I think by this point in the series, she's already learned all she needs. There's not the same benefit for her staying as there's Riker staying. And if you really think about it too hard, it gets a little confusing to why Kira stays. I'm not
Yeah.
sad she
Well,
stays, but this is the point in the series where she really does deserve more and could branch out.
well, again, it's the thing, I think you just said that Ducat's not necessarily wrong. He's not right, but he's not wrong. Because, I mean, like I said, what I think this episode demonstrates is that Kira, again, she's doing action, she's doing all this stuff and showing her knowledge off on the ship. It shows why she was such a good rebel and good fighter for the Bajorans. And I guess the thing that cuts against that, because part of me is hearing Spock and Wrath of Khan telling Kirk, anything else, you're a starship captain. Anything less than that, it's a waste of material. But she's that good because she had to be, because obviously they were occupied. She had to fight for her people. But is that necessarily what she wants to do all the time? She obviously did. She if she had to do it all over again, she probably wouldn't have wanted to develop those skills, but she has them now. And so that's kind of where Ducat's going, is like, well, this is what you're best at. And I think part of I shouldn't say resistance, but one, Ducat gives her resistance or gives her something to push back against, but also, yeah, I'm really good at this. I never wanted to be good at this. I can't help it. I shouldn't say I can't help it. I'm good at this, but yeah, I spent all those years getting good at this. I got my 10,000 hours in because of you, jerk. And so I'm okay. Maybe I'm okay with doing docking assignments, but also I feel like I'm also helping my people. Her whole mission here is she's at the beck and call of our guy Shakar. So
Yeah, she's at the beck and call of Shakar because the Bajoran government has stationed her on Deep Space Nine as their liaison.
exactly, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's the thing. While she deserves and has earned better, her
Mm-hmm.
employer is the Cardassian or the Bajoran government. Until they
Yeah,
offer her better, she's not
yeah,
just going to go look for another employer. That she has every reason to be loyal to her government, and her
yeah.
government is short-sighted by not offering her more than that at this
Mm-hmm.
point. I
Yeah,
don't blame her for staying or not looking. I blame the Bajoran government for not realizing the value she has brought and putting her in a more important role.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
We get a name drop of the Breen again, which we've heard mentioned earlier this season. I don't remember when the Breen show up in Deep Space Nine, and if this is set up or if this is just a coincidence that, oh, we mentioned the Breen, and so, oh, I'm just going to pull this other thing we mentioned again. We'd have to ask our writers of this episode. Teleplay by Hans Beimler, that we've talked about before. Story by Tom Benko, who's best known for being an editor on TNG and Deep Space Nine.
Mm.
He doesn't, as a writer, I don't even. I guess I need to expand IMDb to see writing credits because he's got 2 writing credits. He also wrote The Fall Guy, one episode of The Fall Guy, which was an 80s TV show. And he has 2 Deep Space Nine story by House of Quark last season, and then this one. So directed by Jonathan West, who we have mentioned before, worked on cinematographer, worked on Next Gen and Deep Space Nine. So they took like people that were involved in the show, but not like normally the writer director for this one. But yeah, it's bitter cold on Breen, and there are apparently Cardassians assigned there, so they must have some type of relationship, or at least it's an embassy. So I think that's interesting because again, the Breen were not mentioned until I think this season of Deep Space Nine is a race, and now they've been mentioned several times. They are coming. I think they're preparing us for them to come so that they don't just show up and they're like, oh, I've never even heard of these people.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Dukat board the Klingon ship, I admit I did not see the ship swap coming, even though it did feel a little bit like Star Trek 3 when Kirk tricks the Klingons into beaming over and then blows up.
Yeah, yeah.
Except we have no connection to Dukat's freighter, and neither does he. He's fine with blowing it up. Man, the execution. This is what I'm saying. Every episode there's Dukat, no matter how charming and how much you want to forgive him, they always put in one thing he does that's super evil. To be like, oh, okay.
I mean, yeah, the Klingons had it coming, right? But still, it was like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Did they though? Well, no, you're right, because
I
they
don't know.
attacked outposts and stuff. I was gonna say they did have it coming for attacking the freighter. They were fine with the freighter, but they did attack outposts.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did kill their people.
The Klingons are being lawless and ridiculous right now because the treaty's falling apart. Our Klingon captain was K'Tamang, I guess, played by John K. Schull, who has other Trek credits. He played security officer last season in the episode Shakar, funny enough. Pretty sure the director also directed Shakar. There's some connection there. He'll play 3 different characters on Voyager. He does voices for Star Trek Klingon and Star Trek Klingon Academy, the video games. He also was in an episode of The Next Generation. Season 7 episode is the character Molar in Firstborn, so probably another Klingon, I would imagine.
Okay.
But yeah, this is the only appearance of that character. Ducat mentions this is the first bird of prey ever captured by the Cardassians. I want to be like, dude, Kirk captured one like 80 years ago. You're behind. You're so behind. But the major intelligence is going to bring back because the computers have all their war plans and stuff. Makes it
Yeah,
extremely there's no denying how valuable it is.
yeah,
The Cardassians want diplomacy with the Klingons, their government does, which makes total
yeah.
sense, but you understand Ducat's frustration and that he was
Hmm.
the military liaison, but they weren't. This civilian government is trying to chart a new path forward, so they're not listening to the military. That would be
Hmm.
like being the Secretary of War under Joe Biden instead of under Donald Trump. You get
Right,
frustrated.
right.
You don't get to bomb 9 countries in a year like
Yeah,
Pete gets to do.
yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is the Cardassians are the Trump administration. The worst Cardassians, the Nazi Cardassians, are the
Right,
Trump
right.
administration.
Yes. Yeah.
And the current Cardassians are the Biden administration, where they're feckless and not doing what they need to do to help their people move on.
I
Yeah,
yeah.
being a war advisor to pacifists must be a pretty thankless job. Kira encourages Ducat to convince his leaders to go to war, not to go solo. But
Hmm.
I do think I understand why Ducat decides to go solo. I understand why Kira accepts it. And I also saw coming from a mile away that he was going to ask her to join him. I knew she never
Yeah,
would. And I love the fact that she says she's never even tempted. And I believe that's sincere. I don't think she's blowing smoke. I don't
I
think she
do
ever
too.
was tempted. But
No.
yeah, I think Ducat thought he had her, and this was a blind spot that he didn't realize.
Hmm. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, and again, a lot of what he said makes sense, but there's still you're not that good. You're good, but you're not that good.
Hmm.
So I thought when they're on the having their final conversation on the Klingon ship, I think it's after they've destroyed the freighter. There was a lot of yeah. It's when they get in the conversation about what to do with the girl, Zia. There's a lot of what I'll call TOS season one lighting, where you're just seeing like the eyes or little parts of the face. I mean, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Obviously, I like that lighting, but I thought it actually made sense in that scene because I they were shooting it through some Klingon type lighting was actually hitting them. But I thought that was least interesting stuff too. There, I have one makeup note. This is not a visitor thing, which I've never noticed before, but I did in this episode. And I don't know if I know enough about it to being a man who doesn't. Well, I've worn lipstick a time or two. That's neither here nor there. But it's interesting because it looked like her top lip. She didn't just like go straight across, or maybe her top lip just has a different shape. But it almost looked like it, because obviously we got this thing from our nose that hits it. But I don't know. And maybe it's just having better TVs now. I just noticed like it looked like a little rather than just an upper lip going across. There were a couple of points on it,
Yeah.
which around this time, this is around the time Clues came out. It's good to have attention drawn to your mouth, and of course, not a visitor. As Ducat already pointed out, she's likes powerful men. And as I pointed out 2 weeks ago, she doesn't get around, but she's very sex positive, which I'm very positive about as well for her.
Yeah,
And I love Nana Visitor. I love watching her.
of
So
course.
yeah.
I do not have any complaints about her performance in this episode. It was
Oh no, me
flawless.
either.
Nor
Yeah.
Mark Alamo's performance, flawless.
Yeah.
Casey
Yeah.
Biggs, fantastic for what little he
Mhm.
had. Saya
Yeah.
Batten. There's no performance notes in this episode. And that Deep Space Nine's just gotten so polished by this point. I don't think we're going to find performance notes going forward. I really don't.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I'll
thought
ask you
yeah, I
notes.
agree with you.
As you
My
know,
only other
Seal
one.
asked for hand-to-hand training, and Kira talks about that she was going to have to learn how to hate people if she stays. It's true. It's true. It's Kira
Yeah.
being herself, but I did like the parallels of Kira seeing another young person, and she was so young. I almost wish they hammered home just a little bit more. I know Kira says I kind of saw myself in her, but it
Uh-huh.
almost felt like what she's seeing in her, we haven't really got into that, even though we know intellectually that Kira was a freedom fighter as a teenager.
I don't have these written down, but I guess I have maybe three more notes. One, I don't think we see Zeal again, right?
Oh yeah, we do. Just not that
Oh,
actress.
that's right. You said she's
She's
recast. That's right.
recast a couple of times.
That's right. That's right. And then Odo's in there at the end, and she's like, "I'll tell you all about it." And he's like, "I certainly hope so." I'm like,
Yeah, that
"Oh,
was a
Odo,
little strange after the last episode we watched.
yeah, yeah." And then my alternate episode was that they actually go and they catch Shakar cheating,
Mm.
and that changes everything, baby. So that was my that those are all my notes.
Regal's in 9 episodes, for the record.
Okay, okay,
So this
yeah,
is
I
her
was just
second
looking
of
at
9. Yeah.
Sia Batten. This is her last episode as her.
Sia Batten. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
She'll be
yeah.
in for the next couple of seasons, or few seasons. Yeah, 3 different actresses. Tracy Middendorf will play her next, and then Melanie Smith. So yeah, don't get used to her for a bit. She's gonna be around. Kira talks about the cost to Dukat of going on his mission,
Oh
and
yeah.
agrees with the purpose. I think Kira is big enough to respect Dukat, even if she
Hmm.
hates him and doesn't ever want to be his friend.
Hmm.
She
Yeah,
doesn't forgive him, but she can respect like he's doing the right thing in this situation. And I really
yeah.
appreciate the complexity of that. Season 1 or season 2, Kira wouldn't have been able to get there. And I think that shows her growth as a
Mm,
character.
that's a good
That
point.
she can
Yeah,
be mature around Dukat. And I almost feel like she's gotten comfortable enough with her to act like herself around him.
yeah. That's good.
The
That's a
way she
good. That's a
gives
good
in to
point.
the, she allows herself to be happy. She allows herself to
Yeah,
do things that she would know. She's not on guard, but it's not because she trusts him. It's because she's
well,
comfortable with herself.
yeah, and I thought that's what this episode did a good job of her letting that guard down, but then at some point it comes back up. Like it's down, but it's not gone. And I thought
Yeah.
I like that rhythm or that again twist and turn. Nah, twist and turn might be too much, but still that kind of like, well, hold up, it's still there.
Well, we were
So,
talking about Bareil being in love with Kira. Shakar obviously in love with Kira. Odo's in love with
mhm,
Kira. Dukat's in love with
yeah,
Kira. And Zoe's like, why is everyone in love with Kira? And I'm like, I didn't get it when I was 20 as either, but now I do. I so get it. Like I was a Dax stan the first time around. And don't get me
sure,
wrong, I still find Dax more attractive,
absolutely,
but
absolutely.
barely. Like
I
they're
mean,
pretty much on par.
you're not
Right? Like
losing here. Yeah,
physically, I'm more attracted to the character of Dex. It's the long hair and the spots. But Nana
uh,
Visitor, of course she's attractive because
yeah,
she's a type of person. And you talked about radiating sex. I love that connection to the
hmm,
intendant because when the
yeah,
intendant first shows up, you're like, Kira doesn't radiate sex. But now we've seen enough of her in the Prime universe that the connection's made. It's
hmm,
when somebody is so confident in themselves and so good at what they do and so clever and intelligent, and Kira has become that. The early season, she was so angry and she was really fighting a
yeah,
war within herself. And I love
hmm,
how far she's come and how awesome she is. And whether you're in love with her or not, if you're not drawn to her and compelled by her
hmm,
story, I don't know who you are.
right, yeah,
You need to
yeah,
pay more attention.
yeah,
She's I've always said Cisco's my favorite character. Cisco hasn't done the things yet that make him my favorite character. At this point in the series, halfway through, she is my favorite character on this viewing, hands down. And I feel like by this point, at this point, by the time we get to the end, it's going to be more of a neck and neck tie between Cisco and Kira because she's just
yeah.
wowed me so much.
I wonder if the writers also were just like, I really like writing for her, or not a visitor
They
too, but
must
also
have.
just I like writing this character.
They must have because she gets more to do than most of the characters.
Yeah, yeah,
I do think as the series goes on, they're less good to her and they give her less. I feel like I keep waiting for that moment of, okay, Kira's good episodes are behind us. Because not that
mm,
she doesn't have good stuff in the final season,
sure.
there are moments, but I think the best Kira episodes really are behind us. And that's
Oh wow,
a shame. Like,
yeah,
I do feel like her writing gets worse, but part of it could be because they already grew her to this. And where
uh-huh,
do you grow her from this?
right,
Right? So
yeah,
I don't know. I almost feel like her evolution's pretty close to complete at this point.
hmm, yeah,
Um, but yeah, she's amazing. I think I'll still enjoy her even if she doesn't get the episodes we're used to her getting.
yeah,
So anyway, she offers to take Zeal, which is huge. I know Zeal's
yeah,
medicine, and we got that from the Indiscretion episode, but I still think because at the end of the day, Duclat says like, now we're deeply intertwined, and he's like, this isn't just please me; it gives me a reason to live.
hmm,
I almost wanted her to Earlier, Kira would have bristled because of that. Like, I'm not gonna take
Hmm.
Zeal because this ties me to you. This Kira's like, you know what? Give a crap if that's what he thinks. That's not
Yeah.
the reality. That's
Yeah.
not what I'm here for. And her life, Zeal's life, is more important than any BS Ducat throws up.
Well, and again, there's the complication of ZL didn't ask for any of this. She's also part Bajoran.
Right.
Also, let's not let her hang out with this guy too much.
I mean, I don't think it's that. I really
I
don't.
didn't.
I think it's more to protect her. I don't think it's about Ducat because I think she sees Ducat's treating her well. And while we know
That's
there's a
true.
little bit of brainwashing where he's concerned going on, I think
Yeah.
Kira's confident that Zeal, with enough time, I
I
pronounce her
don't.
name a million different ways because I can't pronounce
Yeah.
it correctly.
Same
Um,
here. I don't think it's motivating
I
her to
saw it
get her
written
away
way
from
more
him,
than I
but
heard it spoken, so I always said
yeah.
Ziel, but it's
Yeah.
Ziel.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I think Kira has confidence that Zeal would see through it eventually. But
Mm.
yeah. Do you have any other notes?
Nope.
I'd love talking this episode with you. I think we've had a really good time. Let's get to the rankings.
Yeah. I like this episode.
Yeah, well, we're on Deep Space Nine. It's
I mean,
we're season one. There were hardly any like truly bad episodes. So much better than I remembered. And by
mhm.
this point in the series, I don't think we're gonna get a bad episode. I could be wrong, but there might be some random one somewhere. But this is not a series that's gonna give us. It's not next gen where we're gonna start suddenly getting bad episodes in later seasons. We're past it. Shady character in Return to Grace.
Ducat, he's evergreen.
You know, I had a really hard time choosing because I don't want to just go with Ducat every time he shows up.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Ducat and Kira because in some ways she was keeping her cards
Sure.
close to her vest, and the way they came up with the con together,
Hmm.
not in a bad way, just like
Hmm.
she tapped back into that terrorist part of herself, and they teamed
Yeah.
up, and I felt like Ducat's shady, but it's more the political version. She
Hmm.
was helping, encouraging him into a different level of shady for different purpose. So I think it's
Sure.
them as a team for me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to put them as a team because, I feel bad for Kira, but
Yeah.
yeah. Who are you who are you annoyed by? Last week you had Kira. Who are you annoyed by this week?
I struggled I feel like the last two. I almost went with Kira for the same reason as 2 weeks ago, but I liked her so much this episode. I struggled just like last week to find an annoying person. I could have gone. I started to go with the Klingons, like whoever, but I went with ZL just for her, and she'll learn. But I just thought she was a little over the top defending her dad. So yeah, that's where I ended up landing.
I could say almost the exact same thing. I didn't have as much trouble last week. This week I did very
Yeah,
struggle. I think her annoyance is totally understandable. It's teenage. It's a
yeah.
teenager who
Oh,
just found her father.
yeah,
Totally understandable and
yeah.
forgivable. Does not reflect on how I'm going to see her overall in her 9 episode
Sure,
arc.
sure.
But yeah, it's Seal. It's the stupid teenage crap. And
Yeah,
the not being able to understand that your dad's a freaking Nazi. The,
that's problematic.
every time I have to keep saying Nazi because otherwise I might forget how bad Ducat is. He was
Yeah,
a freaking Nazi.
yeah, yeah.
He might be worse than anyone in the Trump administration right now, and that's saying something.
I mean, Christoph Waltz is a charming dude, but he's still a Nazi
Good
in Inglorious
connection.
Bastards.
Good connection.
Yeah.
Who are you having a drink with?
Since this is her last episode, Sia Batten, she was not only was she her Star Trek appearances, but also she was in The Sweetest Thing, one I think a very underrated early 90
Oh, I love
early
that movie.
romantic comedy, and
Yeah.
Charlie's Angels, one of the Charlie's Angels movies, and
She was in the
among
second
other
one, Full
things.
Throttle.
Yeah, but she's got a lot of credits too, and she was one of the Pussycat Dolls. So,
Was she friends
uh,
with Carmen Diaz?
good question. I feel like I need to learn more about her, but she
I
was
really,
great, obviously.
yeah, I
So,
definitely saw The Sweetest Thing in college and loved it a lot.
yeah,
So, yeah, I'm not complaining there. I did look up Sia Bat and tried to Google them together, and I got no hits. So,
gotcha.
you know, I don't know that there's any connection, but they did do multiple projects together, so
They did.
maybe. It does say
Yeah,
that they appear. The AI review says they appeared in the same thing, and that Sia Batten was also in Bubble Boy. So
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Bubble Boy. I saw that once. Did not enjoy it the way I enjoyed it the sweetest thing.
I bet the sweetest thing's a lot better.
Yeah, was. As far as I remember. Go Damar. I know it's a tiny bit, and I know this is influenced by knowing where he's gonna
Oh
go.
yeah.
But I will
Yeah.
say the rolling his eyes at Ducat behind Ducat's back, which he definitely did, and then also like, what are you gonna do? Klingon technology's on. Like those two moments. And like I said, the first time through, I probably just they rolled right past me. But because I know him, I I really paid attention to those little bits he got, and those were some great bits. If they were only inviting him back because of those bits, I get it. Like
Mm.
he just sold those bits. So I'm gonna go with Damar.
Eh?
Don't know if this will be first or last time, but ranking the episode.
Yeah.
We're not gonna start at the top because this season's been so stellar.
Oh yeah, that's
But also, it was a good episode. I do
yeah.
think I think it makes sense to start with Indiscretion because that was the last Kira
That
Ducat
was
road
the
trip.
yeah.
And I gotta go below because this almost felt like a retread in some ways.
I think that makes sense.
Right below that is our tie. We still need Keith to come in and tie break
And
between Little Green Men and our man Bashir.
this is kind of where I figured we'd land because I was just thinking like I think both those episodes are fun.
Yeah,
I think I'd go above.
really?
I think
I was gonna say below.
we if we go below, what's if we go below the tie?
Crossfire, which is
Oh,
Odo in
okay.
love with Kiro. We just did it. I would go
Yeah.
above Crossfire.
Yep. 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 Yep.
So do we need a three-way tie that Keith sorts out? I think Little Green Men and Our Man Bashir are both such charming standalone episodes,
They
and
are.
because this felt like a retread, that's why I want to go under. It's not as memorable
You
because it's
might
a repeat.
you might be swaying me that we don't put those two together, and those were more fun. This might be I'm being redundant saying this might be the latest in my recency bias, but yeah, I could say yeah. Let's go below. Let's go below those two and let Keith decide on those two still.
I will say if we did not have Indiscretion earlier this season, I probably would have gone above
I
Little
think
Green Men and Our Man
that makes
Bashir.
sense. That makes sense.
It's purely the retread part. So
Uh-huh.
close together. 9 episodes
Yeah.
is nothing in a show like this where you have 9 main characters.
Yeah.
I mean, we have not had an O'Brien centric episode since then. We haven't had a Dax centric episode, I don't think, since then. Well, I guess kind of sort of Callus was kind of
It,
Dax. But like
it,
we have not all of our characters have had centric episodes since the last time Kira got this.
that's a fair point. It does seem like it's been a while since we got to see. We've seen a lot of. I mean, we've got some Cisco in that, and Odo obviously 2 weeks ago, whatever. But yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So anyway, next week, Voyager meld. Tuvok mind melds with our murderous Maquis crewman. We have
Oh
a
boy.
murderer on board Voyager.
Oh
That's gonna
boy.
get exciting. And Tuvok's gonna mind meld with them. And that is not a spoiler. That is not the culmination of the climax. That
All right.
is that is like what the episode's about. That's why it's called Meld. To
All
better
right.
understand the roots of serial killing, I'm not gonna finish the IMDb description because I do think it spoils after that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think when we're going back and forth like this, we might want to also tease the next Deep Space Nine episode because it occurs to me we may have listeners that just tune in for one or the other,
One or the
and
other.
maybe they're trying
Yeah.
to get through Deep Space Nine and they'll come back to Voyager later. So in 2 weeks, we are going to watch Sons of Moog, where Worf's brother Kern, remember Tony Todd, asks Worf to perform a death rite to regain his lost honor. Meanwhile, Kira and O'Brien are investigating Klingon activity near the Bajoran border. So Klingons are back in full in 2 weeks when
I
we get
gotta
back
tell
to
you,
Deep Space
the
Nine.
fact that honor is in the synopsis does not excite me.
Yeah,
Much
well,
as
we
I
have
like
Tony
Worf
Todd back. Tony
and
Todd,
Tony Todd.
great, but Kern
Mhm.
is one of my least favorite Tony Todd roles.
Mm,
Do you? I'm sure you remember Kern from TNG.
yes. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, whether you're joining us next week for Meld or in 2 weeks for Sons of Moog, in the meantime, live long.
On the spacious DS9 till your dad comes back. And prosper.
It's All Been Done presents
Who's got the time?